some days with the French press coffee, I go through it really fast.
I
And then
know.
other days I feel like I drink it too slow and it's like not as good as I feel like drip coffee.
Leftover, yeah.
You can reheat it and it's just fine. Like the disparity between the two isn't enough to like ruin your day. But with
Right.
French press, it's like much worse. I feel like heated up, or it's that much better.
Yeah.
When it's hot,
I know it.
much like
A big old bowl.
of S.
M.
Soup! It's better fresh, baby. If you have to reheat it, it doesn't do so hot in your mouth. The mouthfeel of it's all off. Hello,
How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 mouthfeel?
SMSoup? Yeah. It's a real, this bowl is a real chunky bowl.
Also tepid.
Yeah, it's not hot.
Yeah.
So I gotta go slap it back in the microwave. And everything's just gonna be thrown all off.
Negative degrees outside, just like our soup. I wanted to say like our soul.
Doesn't mean Arctic conditions.
I know.
But
it's colder here than the North Pole right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the #1 podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
I'm Shelby.
And we're here to take you on a journey through the biggest questions that plague us in our day-to-day. Like, for example, I don't know, just pulling one really tough question that we have to ask ourselves. Something along the lines of, waiter, how is this soup made? Shelby, you were saying that it's very cold out right now?
It's so cold out right now.
It's like so cold.
It's so cold out right now. Like currently 8, but there's a wind chill warning and it feels like -8.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's almost actually warm compared to what the past 24 hours has been. I don't actually.
Yeah,
That's
I
me
guess
kind of
barely.
joking, but
I woke up this morning when we went to bed last night. I think it was negative.
I don't know. It was cold.
I don't know if it was quite -10 yet. And I was not looking at the feels like.
Cold.
And the wind was a whipping. And when I woke up this morning, it was still in the negatives. For like the just for like the temperature.
Right.
And
wind chill
again,
makes
the
it
wind
worse.
the wind is really bad.
It was supposed to hit, which I'm sure it did, a wind chill of -30 in our area. So yeah.
Not trying to do a whole like it's so cold here. I think a lot of places are dealing with this. So
a lot of the East Coast got hit with this wind chill. Yeah.
But yeah, it's cold. So
it's cold as shit.
Safe.
Yeah.
Stay safe, stay warm. I'm telling you that 3 days late, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, it'll already be gone by the time this is out. But I hope everyone stayed safe and warm.
It's like it's so wild how like I'm just trying to think back to like, you know, the 1600s, 1700s.
Okay.
America gets founded,
Yeah.
right? So we'll say 1776.
Right. I hear you.
Day like yesterday comes.
Yeah.
It's 8 degrees.
Yeah.
It's in the negatives. It's negative something, and the wind chill is -30. How the fuck did they survive?
I'm sure plenty of people didn't, unfortunately.
No, I know. I'm sure plenty of people didn't. But how did they survive? How did the ones who didn't not survive?
Close to each other in front of a fireplace with every fucking layer you have. I'd also like to imagine. I can't speak because I wasn't there. I'd like to imagine like communities were more of a thing. So like I would imagine like you probably went to like whether like not related versus related, like you'd go to like a close friend, like you'd want like support and you'd like compile any resources you have and like even if it's just amongst family, like, oh, let's not all be in separate houses, which probably then they were living together more often anyway than now. But yeah, I'd like to imagine there was like better community and people like pooled what they had.
Yeah, but they didn't have heat.
I know, but they had fire at least. So like, I don't know. I'm not saying it was great. Not even close.
Definitely not great.
But I'd like to imagine like, again, there was a little bit more of a
I just think about shit like that where it's like
Support.
we have stuff today
Right.
that we're unprepared for.
Right. Right.
And like, you know, when you think about it truly, like the human condition is at any moment we can die of any like ridiculous thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're the technically most intelligent like
The
species,
most evolved to
right,
our belief. Yeah.
on Earth.
Yeah.
But like, and that's not to say that like a squirrel can't die in the dumbest way possible, right? But it's just like we're so much more advanced than a squirrel, and at the end of the day we could just fall into the same like outcome as it.
Yeah.
which is like
Absolutely.
which is like you know walking into the street,
Yeah.
something like that. And it's just
It's
wild that like we've advanced so far, um yet like a hurricane or tornado, like like natural disasters, right, can like lay such waste to civilization. And it's just like, but how did they do it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I know weather conditions, we don't need to talk about it, have
It
like gone all over the place, but I mean,
still happened.
yeah, I
It's not
mean,
like it's not like
you'd
we
still have cold fronts. You'd still
right.
have awful snowstorms.
Right.
If anything, you probably had worse.
Yeah, I'm sure to some degree.
Like I think back to when we were younger, living in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like we can tell, like we can see through 20-ish years of living how like weather patterns have already just changed in that time, right?
Yeah.
Because like I mean, we used to get like 2 to 3 big snowstorms a year, I would say.
Yeah.
Like big. And then
Yeah.
like we would get snow consistently too.
Right.
Um
There were quite
suddenly
frequently
to
there would be like a foot on the ground.
suddenly to like they now get one per winter,
Yeah.
one like bad one per winter.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like and then like no other snow really, like dust stains here and there and stuff.
Yeah.
Um so if anything, we've screwed it up and made it so that like we don't get snow as
Yeah, but
much.
now we're
So if
getting
anything,
like
I feel like they
other
would have gotten it.
things.
I feel like they would have gotten it more. So
Yeah, that's
maybe they would
true.
have been better equipped for it though. And to your
Yeah.
point, better community, better like
Pizza.
better ingredients.
1776. I don't know. I'd like to imagine that. I also like, especially coming from the mindset of like, people were less like you just stayed for the most part. Again, this is a little bit stereotypical, but you stayed like where you grew up.
Right.
Like that's where you lived. That's where your community was. That's where you lived.
And some people still do that to this day.
And
Crazy.
whether you like knew of other places to go or not, like I feel like it was definitely obviously like people just stayed where you were. So like you would also imagine after generations of being there, you would know the trends, you would know how to prepare, you would know, like, and I'm not saying terrible things didn't ever still happen or unexpected events didn't still happen,
Like the
but
plague.
especially when it comes to weather, like that's how, after generations you like know what to do.
Yeah.
For the most part. Again, shit still
Sure.
happens, but I'm sure they had like basically precautions or measures they would take or stuff like that.
Great point. Great point. Just thought about it.
Yeah, no,
Just,
definitely.
it comes to mind whenever something like this happens, where
Yeah,
it's just like
same.
somehow my great 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 grandfather.
Survived a blizzard of, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how many greats I gave.
With all but an outhouse to go to the bathroom in.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, Shelby.
Spencer.
Last week we started talking about our trip to St. Louis.
Yes.
And we gave all the context of what we were doing.
We talked a lot about train.
And we talked about our day and a half journey on a train just to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe where we left off was we got to Chicago.
Technically, yeah.
And we didn't do a whole lot in Chicago. We had
3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. And I think I mentioned it last time, but if I didn't, I'm a wreck when it comes to travel. I'm a wreck when it comes to time.
Planning.
Oh, you think I'm just a wreck when it comes to planning?
Yeah.
Just planning.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
It's rude.
What?
It's mean.
Is it not true?
I don't know. I don't think I'm a wreck when it comes to planning.
You either are so worried about the plan or you're so mentally removed from the plan that you have no idea what's going on. There's no in between.
Which do you prefer?
I don't know. It depends. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, total honesty. And I'm not saying anything bad. The St. Louis trip, I had no part in it. Like planning it. Like you honestly did all of it. The St. Louis trip. That's like, I'm not joking, I'm not lying. Like I'm not even over exaggerating. I did nothing. I didn't know. I think I helped find the hotel. I think that's all I did. Um what? No? Am I wrong?
No,
Am I making something up?
no, I just don't like where this is going.
And it was the greatest for me.
Okay.
Because I was like, literally, people were like, "Oh, when are you leaving?" And I was like, yeah, I think this day." Like
Okay.
I
So it was
for
good.
once,
Like I did a good job.
yeah, no,
Oh,
you did a
okay.
good job. I'm
Because it
saying
felt
there's
like
nothing negative.
where that was going was, yeah, you planned all of it. Yeah, you still kept asking me when we needed to go and do this, and like expected me to
No.
know this. Because I feel like I did that. I feel like I was just like, where do we have to go get the car? When do we go? When do we have to get it? When do we have to pick it up? Why do we have to do
Oh
it?
yeah, I
The
guess
car
like
was technically
the
in your
car
name
was
and
in my
everything.
name, yeah, but
Okay, but anyway.
like you did almost all of the work, and it was so funny because I am normally not in that position where I can be like, I don't know, I'm just gonna go wherever he says to go. Like normally I'm the one who has to be like, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing, and this is how it's happening. And so it was crazy because I was like, I'm just gonna show up. I'm gonna hope for the rest is all figured out. It was great. You did great. So it was funny because in that moment, I like, yeah, time and details and things like that do tend to stress you out because you're worried about like messing something up or missing it.
Time is the biggest thing. Like,
Yeah.
if something's like you have to be there at 2,
Yeah.
especially when it's a thing leaving,
Yes.
it's just like I cannot miss that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I want to be there at like 12 because that's my like brain. My brain like is like
It's like we can't
we're
miss
gonna
it.
miss it.
Yeah.
And then I sit there and do nothing and I just wasted time.
Right. Um yeah, so no, I thought you did great. Obviously, yeah, small details like you were, but like it's not always a bad thing to just like try and like have everything together. But it was funny because yeah, in that moment you were like you knew just about everything that was going on, and sure it was stressing you out, but like in that moment I was the one who had no idea what was going on. I was just there to hang out and have a good time.
Good. Well, I'm glad I did an okay job. So we were in Chicago for like all of 3 hours,
Yeah.
which basically to me and my brain meant we have enough time to eat food and be back.
Yeah.
Which we really did just have enough time to go eat food and be back. Like,
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
um,
I wouldn't have wanted to do anything else crazy.
so I forgot the pizza place that we went to, but basically we were like,
I
we're gonna
don't
be in
know.
Chicago. We should be like touristy and get like Chicago deep dish.
Well, we also were like, we
Pizza.
have to see the bean,
And we wanted to see the bean as
aka
well.
Cloud Gate. What's it actually called?
Called
Not.
Cloud Gate?
It's not called the bean.
Oh.
Tourists call it the bean.
Well, it looks like a bean, so. But yeah, so
I'm gonna confirm the name quick.
I believe so basically we got out of the station and we walked to the bean,
Yep.
Cloud Gate,
Memorial Park, I believe.
and
That's where it is.
basically we're like, hopefully there's like a pizza place right by there.
Yeah. Which arguably probably means we went to a relatively touristy one, but
I mean, we definitely went to a touristy pizza place, but it I believe was a Chicago chain.
Yes, it was.
And by chain, I think it had 3 locations in
Throughout
the
the city, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was it. So
Yeah, I think you're right.
whatever. And was it necessarily the best one? Who knows?
Doesn't
But
matter.
hopefully we did all right. So yeah, so we wanted to basically we were like, let's go to the bean, and for time's sake, hopefully there's a pizza place like right by it. We can hit both and then make the walk off the pizza basically.
Holy crap.
So we walked to the bean, we walked across the bridge where Dave Matthews dumped a metric ton of shit and killed I think 3 people. And the bean was neat. I mean, like
It was cool.
you know, like it's just like one of those things where it's just a thing in a city, but
Mhm.
it's like known outside of the city.
Right.
You know, like I've known about the bean for I don't know how long. And like actually just seeing it was just kind of like, I'm seeing the bean right now.
Yeah, it was
Like it's
cool.
weird.
Especially because the only reason we're there was because of a layover. So it's not like we ever were like, we're gonna set out to Chicago and see all this stuff. And then there we
Right.
just were like, yeah, standing in Memorial Park, like staring at it with
Holding
like
holding
100 other people.
huge, each of us with a big bag of
Yeah.
clothes and a backpack on us.
Yeah, it was funny.
Um,
Freshman year of college, as an April Fool's joke, our professors, I'm a graphic design student because that holds some pertinence to the story, told us that the bean or cloud gate had been painted over with like the blackest black that had ever been created, thus to remove all of its like reflective capabilities.
mhm.
And it took us, we were all distraught because like none of us had ever seen it, and we were like, are you fucking kidding me? One of the biggest sculptural pieces in the country like now can't be seen, like because they said it was like to make a statement about something, like there was a whole story as to why.
Yeah.
And we were like, are you
That
fucking
was like an
kidding me?
actual like news story.
Yeah, but it was all April Fools
Yeah, yeah,
related.
yeah.
But we
I'm
like,
saying your professor didn't paint it.
yes,
Your
they did
professor
not say
lied.
they painted. Yes, that was the whole point. Was they literally pulled out the article and they were like, "Yeah, it looks like this now," and someone had photoshopped it completely like matte black, and we were distraught for minutes. It took them so long to tell us. Like none of us put together it was April 1st. Like we were all just so upset that none of us were gonna get to see
Yeah,
Cloud
because
Gate.
nobody's a child. If you're somebody who celebrates April Fools, you're a child.
It was pretty funny in the end when you think about it.
Trying to cook up a good April Fool's joke for my coworkers.
Okay, get to work. You got
Yeah.
about a month.
Prove that I'm a child.
But yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Got some pizza. We scarfed it down.
Yeah, so the pizza. So Shelby, not a big fan of red sauce. We've talked about this.
am not.
So we're looking at the pizza, and it literally looks like a bowl of soup.
It does.
It looks like a dough bowl with just like so much fucking sauce,
thick red sauce
and
in it.
cheese, and but no, what it was all the it was like all the fixins, then a layer of cheese, then the sauce, right?
Well, it was all the stuff in like a pie, like dough
Yeah,
on
but the
both
sauce was
sides.
on top.
Yeah, but I'm saying we didn't realize the bottom was a pie,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
thought the whole depth was sauce.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
it was only like a quarter half of an inch.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
basically,
not too saucy.
We didn't know what a deep dish pizza was.
Right.
Clearly,
Not too saucy. And what did we get? We got one that was like
we got like the
pepper,
regular.
No, it was like peppers, mushrooms, onions, right?
Yeah, but it was considered their like regular.
Yeah.
Like no specialty.
It was so good.
Because they started making, I'm sure because there is a specialty pizza, they have a specialty deep dish, which we could have gotten, but we were like, no, we have to go traditional.
Yeah, just go like normal.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was very good.
It was so good. And we ate
all of it.
So it was like 6 pieces, I think.
Yeah.
That were like roughly like pizza size, but like you have to like keep in mind that's almost like 2 slices stacked on top of one another, basically, is like the amount you're eating.
Yeah.
And
we got the small size available.
Right. Granted, and also we hadn't eaten much.
No.
So like this was really good actually.
It was, yeah.
But we both started going for that third piece, and I think both of us thought we were gonna be sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But it was so good. And then literally like thank God we had a good walk to like walk it off and like let it settle and everything, and man, it was so good.
It was so good. But our waitress was like, I cannot believe how much you both ate.
Yeah, we were like, we have to go get on a train.
Yeah.
We couldn't take like leftovers with us, so we wanted to eat as much as we could.
Yeah.
And we pushed it.
And we didn't even, the whole thing with deep dish pizza, if you've never had it, is it takes like a while to be cooked. So they literally tell you like if you're in a rush, like maybe don't get it.
Yeah.
You're expected to wait at least like 45 minutes for it to come out.
I think.
And we had time, but it was cutting it closer by like waiting for it, and we were like, no, we have to while we're here. This is important. Yeah. So we also were like rushing through eating it.
Oh my God.
The recipe for disaster.
Seriously.
It was fun though.
But yeah, and then we got back, and I think we were back to the station.
Oh, plenty
with
of
like
time.
an hour.
Yeah, we had time. We were
and
fine.
Yeah,
Which, oh my God, I don't know that much about like the train system in the US, but I always knew Chicago was like the biggest like port, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
for
Like most
trains.
central location.
Yeah. That was the most cramped, weirdly organized train station we were
Yeah,
at
because you think
the
about
whole
like
trip.
we've been in like New York's and we've been in Philly, and both of those
Literally Boston, New York, Philly, Pittsburgh, St. Louis.
Boston's is kind of crammed, but there's also two train stations just within Boston, I think.
I think you're
I
right,
think New
yeah.
York has a couple too,
Well, yeah,
technically,
that doesn't shock
and
me.
Philly probably does as well. But regardless, yeah, like
Chicago's
there
was
were
like the
there were
craziest.
three groups waiting for trains, and like you have to keep in mind that, like you said, it's basically a hub. So like a lot of people are
Everyone.
starting their journey
Yeah.
in Chicago,
Oh my God, yeah.
and
It was
yeah, you had
packed.
three groups of people waiting for three separate trains.
But like they left like 20 feet for each line.
Right.
Like, so everyone's just standing and like pushing, and like I get it. Like, like I'm sure it was built at some time and then not updated since, and it's just become more and more of a hub. Like I get it. It's not like people were like,
But
this
yeah,
is a good idea.
you think about like Philly, and like Philly was so open.
Yeah. I know, it was crazy.
And
I do
New
think that's a
York,
newer station, but like
sure, but
still.
still.
I know. Crazy. But yeah, it was crazy getting on in Chicago. And we got on a double-decker train in
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. Yeah, to go to St. Louis, which was it's the train that goes all the way from Chicago to Texas. It's
Mm-hmm.
called like the Eagle or something, Texas like.
Eagle.
And yeah, I got to be on the top of the double-decker, which was crazy. I did not think we were gonna get on that big of a train traveling. Cool. So yeah, that was a fun time, and we got in St. Louis at like
8 or 9 p.m. Yeah,
and made our way to our hotel, and we're ready to start. Was there a game that next day?
yes.
Okay, so we got there right before all the games started, like the night before, which was perfect. And yeah, so we were like super excited to be in St. Louis. We got a great hotel that was like blocks away from the stadium,
Mm-hmm.
so we were super excited. And that was like our first time ever like getting a hotel.
Technically second.
Like just us.
We got a hotel.
Oh, you're right.
Out in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you're right.
When you had to
when I had to do
transfer.
Yeah, I remember stuff about that. Okay.
But
I guess more as like adults I see it as
yeah,
now.
no, like, and this was like our first like trip that was just you and I.
Yeah,
that like
we planned.
Did like a full weekend and stuff. Like we went camping technically, but like
yeah,
this was like a bit more involved with like travel and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that we had to figure out. So
that's true. And the next morning we woke up bright and early because shout out to a slight time zone change. Right, because we went back an hour.
Yeah,
we were in Central Time, I think. So we woke up bright and early, and we were like, let's go get some coffee and walk around the city, because basically our time was like do stuff in the city pre-games and then go to the games and probably just go back to the hotel and crash. It was basically the trend for the next 3 days. So we were like, well, we saw the Bean in Chicago. Obviously, like the only thing as a not a Midwesterner central US person that comes to mind is the Arch. It's the only thing I know about St. Louis is that the Arch is there. And so we got some coffee and made our way down to the Arch.
Yeah.
Which we got coffee in there, like basically St. Louis. Again, I know nothing about St. Louis, but they had like a string of parks of the entire center of the city. It was so cute. I loved that detail. Like that's such a fun, like it's literally almost the entire center. Like you could walk straight through the city just via parks, which I thought was like such a cool thing. And one of them was like a very artsy coffee shop in the park that had like sculptures in it and like really fun stuff. And like it was basically a sculpture garden right outside of it. That I'm sure in like the summertime is like peak place to like hang out. So that was like super cool. And we got to the Arch and we were like, wow, a lot less people care about the Arch as they do the Bean, because there was like 20 people on the grounds.
Was packed, but granted, we got to the Bean at like midday, whereas the Arch we got to at 9 a.m.
Yeah, we were like one of the first people there.
So
also they weren't doing like the tours yet and everything, so I'm sure that increased amount of people.
And
there.
we didn't go up the Arch or anything.
No,
we literally just walked around the grounds.
Yeah, which looking up at the Arch. And really, I don't even have a fear of heights or anything, but really realizing how tall it was, I was like, yeah, I don't need to.
Yeah, both of the seven wonders that we saw in a span of 24 hours made me sick to my stomach at certain points.
Yeah.
The bean, if you like looked at the reflection for too long
Especially if you go under it.
and like start like, and as you're like, if you like look at it as you're moving, it is nauseating. And the arch, literally like just like standing directly underneath it and just like
Looking
doing
up.
the look up
Yeah.
is like, and then you like just think about like being up there and
Yeah.
like that's enough for me
It's
to
not
kind of like,
even like skyscraper level though. Like I think it's because it's like no, like I'm saying like a skyscraper doesn't make me feel that way.
oh yeah,
Sorry, I
it's
said
the
that
fact that
different.
it's like so thin, I
And it's the
guess.
only thing there.
Right, like it's not surrounded by other buildings or
Yeah.
anything like that. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like you're just like up in the air in this little thing.
yeah, yeah. Kind of made me a little sick.
Yeah, it
Like
was
got,
like
like pit in your stomach kind of feeling.
yeah, very like it's just a weird mind fuck to look at. But it was a beautiful day, nice to walk around, and you know you just you literally just like walk around. Like I don't know, like it's no different than like Memorial Park in Chicago. Like that's all you do there. But it was just like you're just in this open like grass.
And it's like wide, yeah, it's like
You're
wide
just
open.
walking around.
Not like a lot of like flowers or anything like
No,
that. It's just a
it was
couple
just funny to
trees.
think
And
about. Like you're just there.
the cool thing about the arch was seeing like the shadow it casts.
Yes.
Because it literally casts. And so like if you're walking through the city at any point, if you're like somewhat close to the arch, you can literally like look and
See the
like see a
shadow of
random
the
shadow
arch.
going across the street
Yeah.
or some buildings. And it's like, oh shit, that's the arch.
Yeah.
Wild.
That was
Just
pretty
so
cool.
funky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously I don't really have anything to say about the games unless you do, and we kind of talked about baseball last time. But just talking more about St. Louis, we don't really, again, we had said last time like we had no expectation of a city, like because again we're like East Coasters, everything is like kind of the same in all these cities. St. Louis was, in my opinion, not that I've been to that many cities, the weirdest city I've ever been
Yes.
to. And I meant to do more research before coming on here, and then I forgot. But if you've never been to St. Louis, the best way I can describe it is it literally feels like it's been abandoned. And that like you could literally shoot like a post-apocalyptic movie there and not have to do anything to the city.
Right.
And I don't know St. Louis's history, like I don't obviously, but I did just like the quickest Google, and to no surprise in any way from just like a brief overview, basically the like downtown area of St. Louis was pretty much abandoned due to like general public policy highly favoring like suburb living, house mortgages, like benefiting people who could do that kind of thing. They put a lot more work into highways that brought you into the city or around the city versus infrastructure within the city. And of course, just like as that starts happening, the people who can afford to leave, and the people who can't are, we'll say, stuck there or don't really have any other option. And it, of course, generally, surprise, surprise, leaves like marginalized people there who to kind of like fend for themselves in some ways. And so it was very, I mean, nothing happened, nothing like crazy almost happened at all, like while we were there, but like there's just such a weird vibe. Like that's the only way I can say it. Like it literally feels like everyone picked up and left and like there's no one there.
Yeah, so it's honestly like a thing where like you're walking and like at one point we were walking and we were kind of down like a side street, and I don't know if you remember this, but like a man was digging through one of the dumpsters.
Oh yeah.
And his like pants were falling down.
Yeah.
And it's just like we're the only other people.
Oh yeah, that would be
in
like
in probably what feels like a 5-mile radius.
yeah, like that'd be
So
the only person you'd see for like 30 minutes.
So it's like, be quiet because we are just like an easy target.
yeah.
Like if we make a sound,
yeah.
like
It's just eerie.
it's gonna be a thing, right? Like
you see
you
like one
literally
other
feel
person.
This man, his pants were half down,
He was also just doing his own thing.
and
like he wasn't
But that was scarier than like,
right.
you know, I don't know.
Like an altercation breaking
two
out on the
people
street.
having a sword fight in like an area where like 1,000 people are walking around.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was just the fact that it's just like no, like literally nobody else is around.
No.
So like it has you on edge.
You barely
Like,
there's
that's
like
just like a an oddity or like a strange
Yeah.
thing. Literally, we could have been walking down the street and one other person could have been walking, and that alone is like fucking frightening
I mean,
because it's
yeah,
just like nobody else is around. So
yeah.
like this person could sucker punch me in the face, and it's just like only
Every
Shelby would be like witness to like, yeah, I saw that happen. Like
every time we would walk that it wasn't around game time, you were lucky. If lucky, it'd be crazy if you passed more than like 5 people.
seriously,
Like there was no one. It was very odd. Yeah, and of course, so it's led to like buildings being abandoned, and which this article said that like a lot of them, of course, are still owned by like very wealthy people like in and around St. Louis, if not people who like just don't even live in St. Louis. Like he said a lot of people own it, buildings there in like California, like they live in California. It's almost like, of course, like surprise surprise, like they're holding on to these buildings in like hopes of like some probably a new program happening or
mm-hmm.
something to like boost downtown like living, and like they'll be able to like flip the building or like something like that. So it's a lot of, yeah, just like I don't even want to think about like probably the people who own the buildings who still are heavily inhabited. Like, can't even imagine, because you know the situations when there's like not a whole lot of options or less and less options are occurring, that like people can like capitalize on that situation.
Right.
So it's, I can only imagine the levels of shitty upon shitty for some people. And yeah, it was a very interesting thing to like see, I guess. And like not something I personally ever expected from like a city. Like you go to a city and that's supposed to be like, sure, every city has a million problems.
Right.
Like I'm not here trying to like romanticize cities, but like there's supposed to be something that like I don't know, there's supposed to be like something that's supposed to draw people in and like get people excited, whether you live there, don't live there or whatever. It was just a very different experience than what I was expecting.
Definitely.
But yeah. And I guess I hope, I guess from an outside perspective, Busch Stadium is like, which is where the Cardinals play, is like one of the only things like bringing people in.
Right.
That and like the friggin' FBI building that employs people downtown.
Right.
That's like about it.
Yeah. And like the area around the Cardinals ballpark is so neat.
Yeah.
Like there's a ton of like restaurants and food and
Right.
like it's like a literal hub.
Yeah.
Like you can have a hotel room that's literally like right next to the stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, we were a stone's throw and probably like paying 10% of what you would have to pay
Yeah.
to be like right next to it.
Definitely.
But like you could literally like be right there, you know, step outside, go get your food, go back up, come back down, catch a game,
Yeah.
go do this, go do that, whatever. And like you wouldn't have to go outside of like that area. It's
Right.
insane. And it's so tightly packed. But yeah, we went to 3 games over 3 days.
Yep.
Like that was like the extent of what we did. We
went thrifting.
Basically every day we got up, went somewhere to get coffee.
Yep.
Walked around a good bit. The one day we did like the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Got food every day. The food was great. We got.
Oh my god, yeah, the food was great.
So the one day we went to a chain. I forget what it's called. Salt and something.
Yeah, it's like a barbecue chain there.
Yeah, again, probably like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah,
but a chain nonetheless. Really good.
It
was very good. That was the first day.
Yeah.
Then the second day, we didn't have plans. Like we didn't have the arch. We didn't have like the Cardinals Hall of Fame or anything. So we were planning to do a nice long walk, basically to Mizzou, right? University of St. Louis.
Yeah, it was.
Or St. Louis University, SLU.
It was SLU.
Yeah,
I was trying to do the letters in my head.
So we were walking to SLU.
Which we saw the... Oh, what's it called?
The good luck thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's not Devil. No, I don't know if I did.
So we walked to there, and then we like walked a bit further. That's where... What was it? A Goodwill?
It was a Salvation Army.
Salvation Army. And basically we were like... Maybe we can find some like good Cardinals gear or something,
Yeah,
like
that was
Cardinals
the
themed
hope.
stuff for like real cheap. Which kind of a swing and a miss. You got something though, didn't you?
I got, I don't know if I got a St. Louis shirt. I got shorts because it ended up being so hot.
Yeah.
I don't think I got oh, it's a Billiken statue. It's the Billiken, like
Yeah.
is a fictional creature that's supposed to give you good luck.
Almost like a leprechaun.
Yeah. So we had to pet was it the
I think it
belly?
was
To
its
like pat
belly.
the belly. It's like so rubbed away on the statue. That was fun. But yeah, I think I got shorts because it ended up being like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And I was prepped for like October, not 90 degrees. So yeah, I think I got like shorts or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't think I got any St. Louis gear.
I don't think so either.
But that was the hope with going.
But yeah, and then on the way back from there, again, don't remember the name of the place. I have to look it up so that way we can tell people in case they want to go to St. Louis. But
yeah, it was like one of those
we went
amazing
to
on the side
another
of the road places.
barbecue place that was a line outside.
Yeah.
It was hot. We were standing there waiting. You get up, you like order a feast of meats and other fried stuff, and then
they slap it on a picnic table for you.
yeah, and literally it was like walking up. I think we got in line, and I looked at you, and I was like,
"This is it. This is the place.
This is what we were looking for."
Yeah, it was
when I said
great.
barbecue, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And we sat down, and it was so good.
It was. I love
so
it.
freaking good.
I love finding places like that. But yeah, I forget. We did like that was like a 3-mile walk
That was a long
just
one.
to go to a Salvation Army.
Yeah.
And
then
that was really it.
Yeah. Every game we had to get to the game early because
they all had
they had
giveaways.
3 different giveaways going, 2 of which were bobbleheads.
Yeah.
Um,
we truly learned how crazy fans can be.
Yeah, truly learned how crazy fans can be, and I don't love to make generalizations, but there's a really good like inside joke for baseball fans, I guess,
Okay.
and like baseball Twitter, that like St. Louis fans are some of the like most racist, like backcountry, like white trash, effectively.
Yeah.
Maybe not like your typical image of white trash, but certainly white people who are trash human beings. We heard
the level of entitlement I heard.
Yes.
It's just like for no reason. Like no reason. Like I don't even know what, like the crazy shit we were hearing in line. And like we didn't really talk to anyone. Like I didn't really feel the need to. But just us overhearing other people's conversations, I would just like sit there in shock at times, like hearing what people were like. And they're talking to strangers. Like this isn't always like, oh, a group of friends together, like being like, haha, we're friends. This is us. Like this is people talking to people they don't know, feeling so confident to say this shit.
Yeah. Literally the first game, like, the line, like they had you stand in line for this shit, and like did not have a good system of like how the lines were set up.
They were definitely understaffed.
So
for the crowds,
like somewhat kind of shame on them, but like I guess you can't just expect everybody to be as intelligent as I am. But they tried to like have you snake, and all they really needed to do was like herd you in between like 2 long gates and like just kind of like move at your own pace. But instead they tried to snake, and so then you had people just jumping through like the curves of the snake, and that led to other people like getting upset. And it was just we would try to follow it, to just like be those people essentially. And then it's just like you hit a point where it's just like, no, fuck this is a fucking mess. Like I've been standing here for 2 goddamn hours, and I see somebody else just like walking straight in, and they just showed up, and it's just like, fuck it. Like
we've basically followed the snake like the whole way.
Yeah, for the most part. But then it would hit a certain point where it's just like you can't even tell where you're supposed to go, and it's just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
But the first day, literally, like somebody like cut, and somebody saw it, and this like middle-aged white dude is just like, well, I forget what he even said. He was just like, oh, you think we don't see you? That's bullshit. Yeah. And it's just like, all right, I agree. Like, it sucks. but whatever.
Right.
You know, you said your piece. Hopefully you feel better.
Yeah.
And he, like,
He was
stopped.
also like feet away from getting into the stadium.
Right, not far. And then he,
We're
like,
at the
stopped.
entrance.
And then he goes, "It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you think you can get away with that." Like, or whatever.
Just keeps
Like, I don't know
yelling,
what
yeah.
he was saying exactly, but it's like to that effect. And then we kind of go quiet again. And then he, like, chirps back up again. And it's like literally like the mentality of just like,
I'm just gonna keep talking.
I want to fight somebody.
Yeah.
And they're ignoring me and not giving me that satisfaction. So I'm just going to try and keep antagonizing effectively, like big man. And at one point, somebody probably roughly our age is just like, "Buddy,
We're all just trying to
we're
get
all
in.
going to the same place.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
let it go." Like, and that person was probably more affected technically by
Oh, it
the
definitely
person who
was.
cut.
Yeah.
And like the guy who was angry about it, and then his 3 friends he were with all just started shouting like, "No, this is ridiculous. I've been waiting here for blah, 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 blah. My grandpappy fought in Vietnam." I don't know how the timeline of that works out, but it was like literally it was like that moment where it was just like at first you're just kind of like, yeah, I agree. And then he like does it again and you're just like, this is annoying. And then they all started yelling and I just remember being like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, it was really dramatic.
It's like we really are the worst fans.
It was the drama was never ending.
But yeah, we heard some other really great stuff.
And the
we heard
poor
a middle-aged woman say she was gonna cut someone.
Yeah.
If she got cut in line, I'm gonna cut you.
That was not very far off from her voice.
And I said to Shelby, I was like, every part of me kind of wants to cut.
See what happens.
Because if I get cut, at least she was like true to her word. But something tells me
it's not gonna happen. Yeah. It was just crazy. And
she'll just call the police on me.
And the poor like attendants who were trying to have control, there'd be like people yelling at them like, this person cut. This person.
People angry about disabled people
Oh
getting
my
in.
God, there were so many people getting upset. Okay, because when you go to a stadium or really any big public
Typically,
place,
there's like an entrance for like wheelchairs and
like,
whatever.
Oh my God, like they don't need to like be in line. Like, whatever. I'm not.
Are you telling me they're gonna get a bobblehead before me?
Yeah, like people were genuinely upset about that.
Look at their life.
It was crazy.
Look at what they have to go through on a day to day. Yes, they're gonna get a bobblehead.
I also
before you.
promise you, like whatever you think, like
you're also still gonna get a fucking bobblehead.
Yeah, but also just like these people aren't in your way. Like stop. Like don't be dramatic. Like please shut up. Like it was painful to listen to some of the things.
The worst.
That people were saying, and just like again felt like we're so like this is what I'm saying is right. What I'm saying is everyone agrees with me, and I was just like this is the craziest thing I've ever experienced. Yeah, and yeah, the attendance like literally would just be like we're doing our best. Like we can't. There were how many thousands of people there? Like
I mean,
thousands of people there.
Yeah, every game was a sellout, so we're talking like 45K plus.
And that's not even people who are just there in the like area because like you said, it's like a whole place you can hang out, get food, like watch the game on TV. Like okay, that's 40,000 just to get into the stadium. That's not everyone else who's just around. Like these people are trying their best and like trying to smile and be nice and excite people for the game. And they're getting screamed at that like people are doing this and that. And they were just like, I literally heard one guy like, we're trying. Like he literally was like, I don't know what else to tell. If I go to every single person you point at and like tell them to get out, like we're never gonna go anywhere.
Right.
Like it's not worth it. Like just keep moving. You're getting into the game.
And again, all for the people, like the people around us who were bitching. It was like asinine because it was all to bitch just to get in and still be handed your fucking bobblehead.
Yeah.
Like we were never in danger of not getting it.
Oh my God, no. They literally like I did the
first day.
I did the
first day
really terrible math I can do and was like, wait, how many things did they promise to give away? And you literally have such a good chance if you get there on time.
I think it's like 20K.
You basically,
I think it was like basically half of the attendance would get it.
Which if you get there on time, you're probably in that first half.
Right.
Which we were all there on time.
Right.
Like I like was sitting there and I was like, wait, why are we all stressing? Like 20,000 are just gonna disappear.
Like literally the first day I was stressed. And then we got in and I saw like we went into a gate that was like 8 gates that you had to like walk through, right? And we like went into that one and each of those gates had
a stack of boxes
to 8 like boxes with probably 8 bobbleheads each in them.
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
And like, if not more,
And
like it was just a stack. Like there
yes.
was so much, and you were
Yes.
just like, why was I worried?
Yeah. Literally. Like, and like they know their fan base.
Yeah.
Like they know better than anyone how to prepare for that. And like again, besides like definitely being understaffed attendant wise for handling the lines, like they knew how to handle the crowd.
Yeah.
Like nothing was going wrong. Like it was totally fine.
Right.
It was just people being so painfully dramatic. Like, oh my God, it hurt.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going like, this is why, and we weren't even talking about sports, but I was like, this is why I think some people are just crazy, like especially sports fans when it comes to shit like this.
Definitely. It was that moment though where like just standing in line, I was just like, the Cardinals' entire fan base is just like 45 plus. Like it's like when somebody's just like, God, I hate baseball. Like the fans are just like so like old school about everything, not willing to change. It's just like that was every single Cardinals fan.
It was a lot.
Like literally the
Yeah.
entire base. It's just like,
Middle-aged,
oh my God.
middle class. They live in
They're
large,
so fucking boring.
large, beautiful homes on acres of land, and then they drive into the city for a day
And that's
for a
their
game.
only culture
And
they
they're
get.
like, I'm a city girl. And I'm like, get the like I wouldn't even call myself a city girl. Get the fuck out of here.
Crazy. But yeah, so for the games though, we got to see some really cool moments.
Yes, it was very fun.
So, which was like the idea of going.
Yeah.
We did in fact see Albert Pujols hit his final home run in Busch Stadium.
Yep.
We then also, when we went to Pittsburgh, got to see him hit his final home run of his career with our friends in Pittsburgh. So like they also got to see like history, which was cool.
Yep.
We saw him go second all time on the all time RBIs list, which was really cool. So like everything that we could have seen with Albert, we saw like his final hit, his final everything, which was so neat. Yachty same day. The last day we were in St. Louis, they did a whole ceremony for both of them.
Yep.
Because they were retiring. It was really neat. Wainwright pitched that game, and all three of them left the game when Waino was getting absolutely shelled. But the idea was that they were all going to leave no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, which was also
Fun.
very cool.
Yeah.
So all in all, like got to see some good baseball and see some like really neat stuff and history in general. And then yeah, Pittsburgh, like just more baseball.
More baseball.
We saw, I saw Nolan Gorman, Cardinals, second baseman, and
walking outside the stadium,
walking outside of PNC Park.
We foolishly didn't ask.
He was on the taxi squad, so
right.
He technically wasn't like in uniform or anything. And then we also saw Michael Gersh, who is the Cardinals GM, walking across to get lunch the one day.
When Spencer says we saw,
what
happened was we'd walk by a person, which to me,
a person walked by us,
or that to me, nothing just happened. We just walked by another person because we're in a city. There's people walking everywhere, and then Spencer would go, "Oh my God, that was Nolan Gorman," and I would go, "Really?" And he'd go, "Yeah." Oh my God, should I have stopped him? And then for 10 minutes, he stands there going, I should have stopped him.
So Nolan Gorman, I'm like, I wish I would have, but like, I think it was the right decision not to. Michael Gersh, I think I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
He's literally the GM. He's not the president of baseball operations who's like on camera most of the time and like talking to people and like all that. Like, I feel like
you could have said, hey, Michael Gersh, I'm gunning for your job.
No, I could have been like, I know who you are, which
true.
I think would have been cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that would have felt good for him, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But also, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you can talk such a big game where it's like, oh, if I saw, so-and-so in a public place, I would absolutely ask them for their autograph. And then you see the person in the public place and you're like, oh, I forget that they are just a human being and maybe they don't want, and like, I think about me, like, I don't want to be bothered on my day to day.
Yeah.
So like, why would somebody else want to?
That's my opinion, 100%.
That's kind of the trap that I fell in.
The craziest person I ever saw in public was one of the girls from Dance Moms. What's it called? that what
I
it's
don't know.
called?
I saw Steven Tyler in
You know,
Disney.
dance moms or
Mhm.
whatever
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about.
with Abby Lee or whatever her name
Yes,
is.
Shelby. I know what you're talking
I
about. I
saw
don't know what you're talking about.
one of the girls, which isn't even that crazy because I'm pretty sure they all like their studios outside of Pittsburgh, and so they all like lived in Pittsburgh, and we
Uh-huh.
were in Pittsburgh, and I saw one of them just out getting dinner with friends, and I literally couldn't tell you her name, didn't know what it was, I just know her face, and
Did you say hi?
no, because she was out with friends,
But
and
also you don't know her,
I'm
so.
like how many years older than her, so like kind of fucking weird, like I didn't even watch the show, my sister did, I
Yeah.
just recognized her face. The only person I've ever seen that I'm like, I know you. I do remember you seeing, what's his name?
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler in Disney. Was that actually him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think so. He
No,
looked gross.
I think you're right. He did. I saw the photo of like you guys seeing him.
Yeah.
Did look like him.
Ragdoll. Living in the city. He's gross.
But yeah,
So yeah, we saw a couple of famous.
we got some Permani Bros in Pittsburgh. If you
Permani
don't know
Bros.
Pittsburgh, that's the chain. It's now expanded out of Pittsburgh, but it's the chain of Pittsburgh. It's fine.
It's literally good. It was so good because I hadn't had it in 3 years, 4 years, whatever. Right? Like last time I had it was when we were in Pittsburgh. So it's like, yeah, this is good. If I lived in Pittsburgh, I'd be like, if I lived in Pittsburgh and somebody was like, let's go get Permanis, I'd be like, go fuck yourself.
Like anything else.
Be like, let's go get some Dunkin', dude.
Oh my god.
Okay. So I think that basically is
everything.
everything, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think anything else super exciting happened.
No.
In terms of like baseball everything. So we got to stay and see some friends in Pittsburgh, and then we left early on a Thursday or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
There's like one train
Yeah.
that leaves Pittsburgh every day to go to Philly, and it was at like 7 a.m. or something.
And so then we were in Philly, and that was the place where the Wendy's was crazy.
The like quadruple sized maximum everything size.
Fucking bar.
Grease filled nastiness.
And then we had to get on the train in Philly.
Yeah.
Do you ever see somebody in public and wonder how they were able to get to where they got? I know we were talking about somebody last week, and it's kind of like, how did you get here if you're struggling this much?
Okay.
We had somebody in Philly when getting on the train where it's like, how have you functioned enough in life to still be alive and standing in front of me this day? There's this girl with headphones in.
Mm-hmm.
Who was walking.
Oh my god.
Towards me. So getting
I
on
could
the
not
train
remember. I didn't remember this.
was the biggest pain in the ass.
It was packed.
And
It's
so Shelby found a spot
the
with some good
Northeast
overhead stuff.
Regional train.
Yeah, with some good like overhead room. So it was just like, take this seat, Shelby. Get you situated.
Yeah.
I'll go find another seat with just like my bag.
Yeah.
Like, no big deal. And this girl is walking towards me. All right. She just came through the other train. I got on at the front of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm getting on. And she's coming towards me from another car. And I go, is that car full? And she just stares at me. And I go, is that car full? And she goes, what? And I go, is the car full? Takes headphone out. What?
Yeah.
Are there any seats behind you where you just came from? Like, did you just come from that car?
Right.
And she's just like, oh, yeah. And I was just like, okay. So I was like, well, I don't have a choice. So I walked through. I think, the dining car and then one more. And I was in a new area.
Yeah.
And luckily found one seat.
Yeah.
And then both of our phones were
Like
teetering on the edge of death.
Yeah.
Both of the people we were sitting next to basically didn't give us any opportunity to plug our phones in.
None.
So both of us put our phones on airplane mode. And then we ended up
in New York.
They did a shift change.
All but the whole train leaves because New York's a big destination.
Yeah.
And then there was a shift change, so you sit there for like a few minutes where everyone swaps out. And thankfully both of our people left.
So they put I don't think my person left.
Oh, mine did.
But anyway, so they put like tickets above your seat.
Yeah.
Right? And then like they come by, scan you, and like mark it and whatnot.
And that's them keeping track of like when people need to get off.
And they
right before the shift change, pulled them all.
And so I realized that, and like, so you're not supposed to change seats. That's where I was getting
It causes a big headache for the people working.
So they pulled those, which basically means like you have free reign to change your seat. And so I am like frantically texting Shelby, going like, they're doing a shift change. Like, please tell me your phone is not still on airplane mode so we can communicate and like locate each other.
Yeah.
And I had seats by me. And like I remember at one, like finally I like look up and you were like, "Hey, let's go!" Like my seat's freed up, and I was just like, "Let's go!" So then we pulled up and we were back together for the rest of the ride. Then, but
yeah.
And I think at one point you even said that you were like, you saw the fucking 0 IQ girl walking around, and like, did you ask her like
she'd come back, oh my God, I don't know where she left and went to the train in front of us, comes back, is like looking for a seat. I think she wanted a solo seat. Like she didn't want anyone next to her. And when I tell you this train was packed, there was no hope. Like we immediately gave up hope of sitting together upon seconds of seeing what we walked into. I don't know how she had hope because she still had all of her stuff. And so she came back and I think I asked like, because I was worried you couldn't find a seat. And so I think I was like...
Were you like, are you still looking for a seat?
Yeah. Like I was like, can you still not find a seat? Like there's no seats on this train? Because I just had this panic in my mind that I was like, don't tell me.
Did she ask you what, 70 times?
Yes. She literally like looked at me and then I think I'd asked 3 more times and she kind of just like shrugged and walked away. And I was just like... But she still had all of her shit. Like her shit never left her person. Not in like a I just need to run to the bathroom kind of way. Definitely like I'm hunting for a seat kind of way. And clearly wasn't finding a seat she liked or something. But I was just like, I literally was like, hey, I've passed a headphone girl again. I was just like, listen, I'm all for like, obviously I'm in this, like, I don't want to be talked to. I get it. I'm here with it. I sometimes am you. But when you are like, everyone's just trying to like figure out their shit. I'm not a boomer
trying to figure out like your life story. I'm trying to ask you one goddamn question about where you just came from because that's where I'm fucking walking.
It also like,
and then also you're trying to pass me with all of your shit while I also have shit. And I'm telling you there's nothing behind me. And you're just like, la, 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 la. It's just like...
And of course, you're like heading a line of people, like pushing to get onto the train. And
right.
She's one person who's like determined to like break through the sea of people and like find something she likes, which is just crazy. Like, in what world do you think like that's ever going to work out? But yeah, it was, it was just so insane. And like, yeah, I don't know. I know I'm probably like too self-aware of like myself and like the space I take up.
And like how you're impacting people around you.
I'm definitely too self-aware, like because it gives me anxiety and like I'm stressed that I'm like making someone uncomfortable or like doing something wrong. And so I know that. I know I go too far. But I'm always can sit here and be like, wow, this person's like not doing anything to try and be self-aware.
No
like the person I ended up sitting next to, thank God, the reason there was so much headroom is because she didn't want to not have her stuff next to her, which she definitely was trying to keep her seat not taken because that was the move, was keep all your shit on the seat. No one will sit there. But literally the train was packed.
And they announce it. They're like, move your shit.
Yeah.
You're going to have somebody
sitting next to you. They say it like 4 times. It's like sitting on, it's like everyone knows the situation. And I'm like, can I sit here? And she was like, I really don't want to like be separated from my stuff. So like, can my stuff stay? And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I need to sit down. Like, this isn't an open issue. And then as I sit and like thank God I could put my stuff up top because literally her suitcase was my footroom. Like I was almost on top of her suitcase because she like didn't want to be separated from any of her stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, these trains are like big, but they aren't that big.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
That was our excitement coming back. But then we got back and
that was everything. Got an Uber at like 2 a.m. Right? Was that the one we got back really late?
No, it was New York.
Oh.
No, we got back at a good time.
Oh yeah,
we left super early. So we got back by like,
PM.
like good time.
Yeah. I mean, not fine time. It was crazy. I literally wrote, it's been 8 nonstop days, give or take 2,535 miles, split up over 4 different trains and a rented car. Over 8 days, 2,535 miles.
Crazy.
It is crazy. We spent so much time in a transportation vehicle.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2, almost 3 full days probably spent in either a train or
A
a
car.
car.
Yeah, of the 8.
Crazy.
But we did a lot.
We did do a lot.
A lot.
And I think overall it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
Hope
it.
you had a good time.
Yeah, when's the next trip?
I don't know. I mean, I do want to like try and like do trips to St. Louis, catch some baseball games, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even mean specifically St. Louis. I just went, when's our next trip?
Oh, next like actual trip?
Yeah.
We're going to Charlotte.
Where are we going? What are we doing? How are we getting there?
We're going to Charlotte.
Yeah, we're going to Charlotte.
To just work from there for a week.
Yep.
We're going on a cruise.
Yeah, there's plenty going on.
We're going to
being an
Costa
ass.
Rica.
I'm being an ass.
Those are all things that I'm not planning.
Yeah. Me neither.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed
the
little travel saga of SMSoup. This bowl is in some Tupperware. You can take it with you. Thanks so much for listening. Again, if you have any crazy stories about travel, let us hear.
Yes.
Other than that, we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah.
Chill on some Valentine's Day.
Hell yeah. Our favorite activity. Shitting on a holiday that everyone loves.
Everybody does not love Valentine's Day.
Plenty of people love Valentine's Day.